Hi, I'm Raymond Benson. I'm primarily an author of approximately 41 books. I'm a composer and a musician, film historian. I teach film history, and formerly a theater director and computer game designer. My career's been a long and winding road. I grew up in a small West Texas town, and either you loved high school football or you found other interests. And my other interest, of course, was reading and going to the movies. I saw my first James Bond movie when I was 9 years old, and that changed my life. My entry into the publishing world was very unorthodox. This was in the early 1980s. I was living in New York City. Some friends of mine and I had a party and we were sitting around a table, and the question came up, what would you write if you had to write a book? My answer was, well, I'd write a coffee table encyclopedia, big information book about the history of James Bond. My friend said, that's a great idea, why don't you do that? And so I investigated, how do you go about writing a book? And I met an editor at a publisher. She told me how to write a proposal for a nonfiction book. I did it, and I got a contract overnight. My big claim to fame, I guess, would be that I'm the first American author of the James Bond novels. After Ian Fleming's death, his estate would periodically hire other authors to write new adventures, new books. First there was Kingsley Amis, and then John Gardner, and then they hired me in the late 90s, and that was probably due to the nonfiction book that I wrote back in the 80s. So for 7 years, I was the official Bond author. Once that contract ended, then I just started working on my own original books. There's a 5-book serial called The Black Stiletto, which I'm very proud of. I think it's my magnum opus. And most recently, some books that are suspense thrillers, but they deal with social issues, like my most recent book, Blues in the Dark. A lot of people ask, where do you get your ideas from when you write novels? And most authors really hate that question because sometimes we don't really know. They just kind of come in dreams or the newspaper articles or whatever. It kind of depends on the type of book. When I was doing James Bond, I would take out a map of the world and pinpoint hot spots that England would be concerned about, because Bond is English. I would research that hot spot and figure out a plot that would go with that. For my own original books, these are more personal. I usually spend a lot of time thinking about a particular subject, some angle that I want to explore. In the writing community, we kind of divide ourselves into plotters and pantsers. Plotters are people who outline first. Pantsers, they write by the seat of their pants. So they just sit down and they start writing. I am a plotter. I really believe in doing an outline first. When I'm creating a book, it's divided into phases. The first phase is usually just, it looks like I'm not doing anything. I'm looking out a window and daydreaming and just considering what my story might be. Who are the characters? What's going to happen? How is it going to start? How's it going to end? Then I might do a little research on locations, if it takes place in a foreign country or if it takes place somewhere else, just to get a sense of where I'm going to set the book. Then I do the outlining, and that takes about 2 to 3 months. And I'm very meticulous with the outline. It's very detailed. Each block paragraph of my outline represents a chapter. After the outline's done, then I might do nitty-gritty research. If it's in a foreign location, I will travel to the location. I did that for all my James Bond novels. Once I have all my research, my photos, my outline, it's like I have a map, a blueprint of how to write the book, and then I sit down and write it. Once I have the first draft done, then I go back and I start rereading, rewriting, revising, adding, deleting. And then comes the problem of selling the book, and that's a whole different animal.
Hey man, it's so good to see you. All right, there you go, pal.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you so much.
Yeah. All right.
I think I've always been a musician. I would just get on the piano and start banging around and picking things out by ear. And when I was around 7 years old, I took some lessons for about 2 years. That gave me enough technique to where I could develop it on my own. And I guess, people tell me I was a natural as far as composing, because I was composing tunes at a very young age. And I started in high school composing music for the theater productions, and then in college I really got into it. And eventually, when I moved to New York after college, a lot of my theater work was composing music for musicals that playwrights would write, and had several productions done. And then another pivotal point was in 1968, when I was 13, I saw 2001: A Space Odyssey on the big screen. And again, that light bulb just kind of went click, and I sort of understood what directed by means. I kind of got the idea that these were filmmakers who had something to say. They were auteurs, and that interested me. I guess I could say that I'm self-taught as a film historian, and by the time I got to the age I am, I know a lot about film. I've been teaching at College of DuPage for 11 years, film history, and I also, in the northwest suburbs of Chicago, I've teamed up with the Chicago Daily Herald film critic, Dan Geyer. We have a live show called Dan and Raymond's Movie Club. It's kind of like Siskel and Ebert. We do it live in front of an audience. We pick a topic like, say, the greatest animated movies of all time, and we pick 15 of them. We show clips, we tell jokes, we tell about the making of the movies, and we've been doing this for 13 years. What I love about what I do is that I'm freelance. I get up in the morning and I walk 6 feet to my office. I can work in my pajamas, That's the best thing about my job.